What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy KSK Sports here, and you guys see the title for this one, Developing Shedeur. Now, I know I made a video the other day about how long will Shedeur be a Cleveland Brown. Now, this is the inverse of that. What if the Cleveland Browns are actually doing something they've really never done since 1999? What if the Cleveland Browns are actually trying to develop Shedeur Sanders to be their long-term answer at QB1? Interesting nugget. Anyways, but before I get into that, subscribe to KSK Sports. I'm at 791 subs. Let's get that to 800. Comment, like the video, hype the video up as well. If you got any hypes left, I know my boy will be hyping the videos up. Miss Duke, she be hyping the videos up. I think you get 3 a week. Hype me up, baby. And let's go. Developing Shedeur Sanders. Now, this is what Andrew Berry had to say. I'm not sure when he said this, but this is a quote from GM Andrew Berry. And this is what he said. Some people are pushing their own timing for someone else's development. You know, I don't know if he's taking direct aim at Shedeur fans. I'm not sure who he's particularly talking about. It's a very vague statement. You know, not really pointing fingers at anybody. Very something like an Ivy League person like Andrew Berry would say. Not really, you know, pointing the finger at anyone, but kind of pointing the finger at everybody. Very smart by Andrew Berry. That's like 145 IQ remark right here. Some people are pushing their own timing for someone else's development. I mean, not a single word in that little phrase is misplaced. That is very, very articulate and right to the point while not really singling out anybody. Yeah, everybody wants Shedeur just to be the guy. But if you, like right now, but if you if you listen to how Todd Monken speaks about Shedeur Sanders from the jump, their first encounter, Todd Monken slapped hands with him. He said, "We should have drafted your ass." Todd Monken also, he wanted Shedeur at Georgia. These are things we have to bring up because there is a backstory between Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders. Todd Monken's been wanting to coach Shedeur Sanders for like the last 5 years. So I just don't buy into the narrative that Todd Monken is just going to be like, you know what? I can't do anything with Shedeur Sanders. You know what I think Todd Monken is actually doing with this quarterback decision. Now, it might have came from up top. It's very possible the decision came from Jimmy Haslam. Let's just say it did. And Todd Monken's like, you know, all right, whatever. I'm gonna put Deshaun out there. He's gonna fail epically, and then I'm gonna move on to the quarterback I want to play. Somebody I can actually develop. The younger, more talented at this point in his career, Shedeur Sanders. And maybe, just maybe, Todd Monken is protecting Shedeur from himself. I know people think that, hey, Shedeur's ready to be the starter. Shedeur's ready for prime time. Maybe Todd Monken feels like he's protecting himself. He's protecting his quarterback that he actually is invested in, that he actually sees as the long-term possibility for the Cleveland Browns. Maybe, just maybe, the actual organization in Cleveland, they actually like Shedeur Sanders as well, and that's why they're not just going to throw him out to the wolves these first 2 weeks, because Jacksonville and Tampa Bay are pretty good teams. They're live to win their division. They have established quarterbacks on their team. Well, Tampa Bay, I mean, they think Baker is their guy. But they ain't paying him like he's a guy. It's like they paying him like he's, you know, a bottom tier type of starter, even though he's played, you know, like a top half of the league starter. But they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay the man. They don't want to pay him Brock Purdy money. Baker looking around like, hey, man, Brock Purdy done got paid. How come you can't pay me? Trevor Lawrence, I got paid. I'm better than him. Ooh, what's the deal here? Nah, I agree, Baker. Tampa Bay need to pay up. Anyways, enough of that. maybe, just maybe, the Cleveland Browns have an actual plan here. Maybe. I know people, I said the Cleveland Browns are a clown show. And I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Maybe they're getting this right. Maybe you're going to drown out all the noise and they're going to be like, hey, we actually see something in Shedeur that is worth developing. I know. Could the Browns actually be doing something right? And I know people are like, hey, man, we should just trade Shedeur away. Why would you trade Shedeur away when he could possibly be the guy? This is the season where you need to find out what you have in Shedeur. Maybe the Browns are like, hey, we know what we have in Shedeur. We the ones that went out on a limb and selected Shedeur Sanders. Now, I know Todd Monken, when he was the OC with Baltimore, he stated that we wanted to draft your ass in his first encounter with Shedeur back when he got the head coaching position. I'm just saying, he says that, but the organization actually pulling the trigger and them doing it is two different things. The OC might have liked Shedeur as a backup at that time. Todd Monken, OC in Baltimore last season. But ultimately, Ozzie Newsome, their GM, and John Harbaugh, they had to be in agreement with Todd Monken because he's an OC. He's behind a couple folks. Now he's the guy. It's a little bit different. You want Shedeur, you go out and get him because you're the head coach. But back when he was with Baltimore, you got to go checks and balances as the offensive coordinator, not the head coach. But, hey, it appears to me that Todd Monken, at bare minimum, sees potential in Shedeur Sanders. Why else would he give Shedeur Sanders reps with the ones? All right? Eventually, Todd Monken is like, hey, we know Deshaun Watson ain't going to be here next year. The big decision Todd Monken has to make then is Shedeur Sanders, by the end of the year, will Shedeur Sanders be better than a blue chip prospect, possibly there in the top 10, like a Dante Moore? Dante Moore has been projected to Cleveland for quite some time. Arch Mann has been projected to Cleveland for quite some time. So those are probably going to be the top two guys on the board. Maybe CJ Carr. We'll see how the season pans out. So the decision Todd Monken really has to make is, do you think Shedeur, when you advance out his career and where he's going to be at the end of the year, do you think that his trajectory is higher, his ceiling is higher than a potential going back into the draft and picking, like I said, Arch Mann or Dante Moore? That's the decision that Todd Monken has to make. Do you want to continue to develop Shedeur as the team's QB1/QB2? Or do you want to get into the draft and you want to draft somebody high? I just don't buy that Todd Monken is just automatically just going to be like, you know what? I like what I have in Shedeur. And the Browns are actually developing Shedeur. If you look at the progression of Shedeur Sanders since the Browns drafted Shedeur, the natural progression is to be QB1. If you look at it, all right, things don't need to happen like how you want them to happen, you Shedeur folks out there. I know people, they want Shedeur just to be the guy, like, right now. But if you look at it, you're not the old elephant. You need to, go back a little bit to see the whole elephant. If you're too close to the elephant, you're standing too close to the elephant, you're not going to be able to see the entire picture. All right, sometimes you have to step back a little bit and be like, oh, I see the whole elephant because I'm just not close to the elephant. You need to step back a little bit to see the whole picture. All right, if you look at the whole picture, you step back and you look where the Cleveland Browns, they selected Shedeur. 5th round. Not that he's a 5th round talent, that's where he got picked. He was QB4 on the depth chart last year. Where is he at this year? It's QB2. So that means he's moving up. He actually played last year being QB4, which is remarkable. Just wrap your head around that. Shedeur Sanders at one point on the depth chart, according to Kevin Stefanski, was QB4. Now Shedeur going into this season is QB2. So that's just a natural progression. So it doesn't make any sense to me if you look at it from a rational perspective, you look at it from the Browns' perspective, I know people are trying to say, hey, Shedeur going to get traded. They don't like Shedeur. They don't want Shedeur in Cleveland. What's the plan for Shedeur Sanders? Maybe the plan is that the Browns are developing Shedeur. I mean, it's just a noble concept. Could it be that the Browns are actually trying to develop Shedeur? Maybe they have Shedeur's best interest at heart. And maybe you guys that are Shedeur fans, maybe you guys don't have his best interest at heart. Because I told y'all, if he goes to another team, he's going to have to scratch and fight his way to be the guy. Whereas in Cleveland, there is a clear runway for Shedeur to go into his third year in the NFL as the QB1 for a NFL team. You see the progression. QB4, QB2. There's only one more way to go up. If and when Shedeur gets in. Not if, when. When Shedeur gets in this year, it's incumbent upon him to go out and ball out. Now, I said in my last video, my boy Will, he was like, hey, BTSN, shout out. He said, if Shedeur goes out and throws for 2,510 games, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, that's something to build upon. You got to look at that and be like, do I want to go and pick a quarterback when I feel like I got something that is developed and now he can be the guy going into that third season? Sometimes quarterbacks aren't the QB1 that you want them to be when you want them to be. There ain't nothing wrong with Shedeur learning. And then eventually in year 3, all right, Shedeur, you the guy. You getting all the QB1 reps at camp. You're going to be the guy. We're going to name you the starter. We're not going to have a competition. Shedeur's going to be the guy. Maybe that happens. Maybe Shedeur goes out and he has a good season once he gets in. Because I don't know how many games Deshaun Watson gets. I can't imagine Deshaun Watson gets more than 5 or 6 games. Maybe less than that based on performance. Because they're at some point, they're going to want to see what they have in Shedeur to see if there is a chance that he can be who they think he can be. I think that as a developmental pick, they want to see if Shedeur is crossing off these check marks, if he's continuing to progress and grow. And you heard Todd Monken out of his mouth. Everything he says about Shedeur, man, he has grown leaps and bounds from when I got here to now. Now, within the season, it's time for Shedeur to make that leap. Make that leap where Todd Monken be like, oh. The Andrew Berry's like, oh. And Haslam's like, oh. And they get together and like, hey, this is actually beneficial for us going forward from a financial standpoint. Because check this out. People are not bringing up that Deshaun's cap hit in 2027 is still going to be large. So, why are you going to bring in a quarterback that's an expensive quarterback? Let's see, a lot of people don't want to bring that up. I'll end with this. A lot of people don't want to bring up, oh, so you're going to have 2 expensive quarterbacks on the roster? That don't make any sense. So you're going to be, look, if you bring in a top 5 quarterback and you're still paying Deshaun Watson, I think Deshaun Watson's dead cap hit next year is like $86 million or something like that. So on top of that, you bring in a quarterback that you're going to have to pay. That's a first round pick. You're going to have to pay. It's an expense. First round picks are expensive. The best case scenario for the Browns to get out of this cap hell that they're in is for Shedeur to develop at the pace they want him to develop at. And then you hand the keys over to Shedeur next season. Then if he's not the guy, 28, going into the dome era of the Cleveland Browns, then you can draft your quarterback. Then, when you're out of cap hell, people are not bringing that up. I think the cap hit for Deshaun in 2027 is a lot. It's also like 80-something million, 86 million, whatever. I think if it's after June 1st, post cap designation or whatever, I think it's less. I'm just saying, man, it's still gonna be a hit. So it's gonna be a hit, and then on top of that, you're gonna pay a first-round quarterback. First-round quarterbacks, they make a lot of money in their first year, in their second year. And then you got to worry about a 5th year because you're a first round. You got a 5th year option, so that's more money. Can we afford a first round pick? Nobody's bringing it up. Can we afford a first round pick? You know, media not gonna say that. Not gonna say that. Can they actually afford a first round pick? Shedeur might be a Cleveland Brown next year. He might be the starter next year, just based on the money aspect of this. Or maybe they bring in a cheap veteran. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy KSK Sports. Rolling out. Peace.